The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only.
Well, good morning, everybody. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Ken Krell. I am thrilled that you are with us today. Before we start the festivities, I'd like to make sure that you guys can hear me okay. So if you would pop into the chat and tell me where you're coming in from, that would be awesome. And to answer your question, Dan, this will be recorded. It may or may not be available afterwards, and it may or may not be recorded properly. So no guarantees. Um, and Steve, if I'm in Bangkok, I still am. Yes. Do we still have the 10 p.m. curfew? No, we don't. It is now midnight, and soon we'll see whether or not or how soon they remove it. But I can tell you, since it is now Friday morning, that for those of you in America or in Europe, I can promise you that I know the future, and tomorrow morning for you will be bright and sunny. North Carolina, Lenita's in, Anna's in from Phoenix, and Lenita's also in from really.com. Okay, cool. So we're going to do something very interesting today. Before we start, a couple of ground rules for today. This is something. Oh, here we go. Mike's in from Australia, from Melbourne. Um, I hope I'm as interesting this time as I was last time. I'm not quite sure what I did last time, Randy. I tend to live in the moment. I tend to forget what happened yesterday, let alone what's going on, today. Um, so um, Anyhow, this is going to be fun. So a couple quick ground rules for you. First of all, if you would, make sure that you eliminate your distractions. So cell phones, pagers, children, whatever may be going on around you, if you can put them on hold for the next hour to 90 minutes, that would really be a good move for you. Randy's in from Atlantic City. Okay, cool. So yeah, this time is really designed for you, and I want you to understand that this is custom designed for you. I have not made a PowerPoint presentation at all. This is truly 100% all about you. And it's interesting because I've got to I got to tell you that you are a very, very special bunch, and I say that very seriously. If my last email that went out relative to this event talked about how my emails and how this campaign was not well received. It's interesting. We had of the last email that went out that talked about testing and so on, we have one of the largest number of unsubscribes that I've ever seen. It's amazing. There are times that you cannot give people the cure for cancer; they will fight you on that. To me, in my mindset, if someone's willing to offer to help you build your business and do it at no cost, you show your butt up. You say thank you and you get on the call, or whatever. You don't unsubscribe. That's just incredibly weird. Um, I don't like going into sensationalism of make $4 million by Thursday, but people seem to like that. It's very interesting. Not the way I want to run my business anymore. So anyway, that's the basics in terms of what we're going to do today. I'm going to do something also for most of you that is very different, and for those of you that are members of our Trailblazers group, something that you're very familiar with, and that is I'm going to open the mics. So this is going to be a workshop with you, or actually a play shop, if you will, and you're going to get to participate. I will ask you to self mute yourself so that when I unmute you, to the left of your name in that control panel on the right hand side of your screen is a little green microphone. At least on a PC, if you're, or a Mac rather, on a desktop. If you're on an iPad or something like that, it may look different. Just mute yourself on your own, and then when you want to pop in with a question or a comment or whatever, you are welcome to do that. I mean, this is going to be something where it's designed for you, and if you're simply silent, you won't get the maximum value. You will get the maximum value if you participate. And just take the lead by Lenita, for example. Lenita is one of our more active Trailblazer members, and I'm thrilled that you're here, kiddo. So let me start doing some unmuting here with you guys. And as I said, since I am recording this, I need to make sure that the background noise is low. So I will ask you to self-mute and then unmute as needed. That way, if there is background noise, it's diminished. So I'm going to start doing the unmuting here real quick. I've got to do it manually, so I don't have a way of unmuting everyone all together, unfortunately. So we're just going to go ahead and do that real quickly. And thank you. Some of you have already guys self-muting. So, hey, Joe, there's Lenita. Yay. Hi, Lenita. There's Mark, Randy, Mike, whoops, Sam. Just give me 1 second here to get this done. So you're all done here.
Okay, no
Excellent.
problem.
Okay, and whoever is talking in the background, if you would mute yourself, that would be
Unmuted.
awesome. Okay, and I can tell in just a second here. So if you are having noise, I will mute you. I'm trying to figure out who's making that noise in the background. I think that may be. Hang on a second. Yep, it was Steve. There we go. Okay, Steve, you're muted. Okay, so here's what's going on. When I sent out the email and asked for your comments about things that were frustrating you or standing in the way of what your success is, I got a variety of answers. Okay, on the website, we had, where are we here? That's not it. Here we go. We had answers. Finishing startup websites, getting there, and getting past it to wait or find out and find investors. That's Randy. Mike has overwhelm and a map of putting it together. That's gonna be pretty easy to do, actually. Not knowing which path to pursue is what Justin said. Daniel gave up on shiny objects, but looking at what will help my business. So that's some of the basics. And then those of you guys that responded to our support line, yes, we actually read those too. And if I can find my notes, here we go. So Lori said overwhelm. Michael was looking for a place to start and how to get funding. Doriana was talking about procrastination and getting sidetracked. And Randy about how to identify other customers and clients. And I neglected to put down Lenita's comment, which was related to mechanics of getting her back end sorted out and her website created. So those are some of the basics that were there. The big overwhelming and I think overarching concern that you guys had was related to overwhelm and focus. Bless you, Randy. Bless you. So what I want to start with is just talking with you briefly about some basic philosophy. Okay, and then let's open it up to some questions and let's work with you individually and start blasting through some of that. So the first thing, if we talk about overwhelm, here's the biggest thing about overwhelm, and this, by the way, affects all of us. Okay, just because Lori's name's next to it doesn't mean it's just about Lori. Overwhelm is overwhelming. Okay, and the biggest thing that overwhelm comes from, in my opinion here, because I am now, I've got the mic, it's lack of focus. It's not being clear about what you want. Okay, and to a large degree, because if you are focused, if you know what you're doing, then it's having that roadmap. It's knowing where to go from point A. Here, let's do this. Let's go into our diagramming software. Okay, it's from going into point A. Let's see if I can figure out. This is brand new software. So we're going to go from point A, whoops, to point B. Now, the problem most people have is they don't know what the hell point B is. And so here's the big question. Okay, whoops. Big question is, how do you turn this arrow off of here? Here we go. So let's see if I can escape. Let's try that. Okay, there we go. So to get from point A to point B, we first of all have to understand what point B is. And the problem that most of us have as entrepreneurs is that we think that point B is making money. And that's lovely, except the fact that if you don't have passion for point B, you're going to be finding all sorts of other bright, shiny objects in the way that will be a problem for you guys. That's the major issue for so many of you. The getting started comes from a bunch of fear and perhaps not being clear about what point B really is. Overwhelm happens when so many different things get into your way and you don't have blinders on. In other words, think about the thoroughbred horse that's wanting to race to the finish line. That horse, to get to the finish line, has blinders on. Okay. Oh, did I not share my screen? Let me check on something here. I am showing the screen, Lenita, and I'm showing YED. So you should. Can you guys see my screen? You guys can, if you want to just talk to me, you can. Lenita says I see nothing. I am showing. Let me try sharing and non-sharing my screen. Let's try that. Okay. Let me stop showing my screen. And then let me start showing my screen again. See if that changes for you. And you can unmute yourself and talk to me here. Is it working now for you? Anybody?
No.
No? That's lovely. You may need to come back in again. Can everybody else see my screen?
I can.
You can, Mike? Okay. Who's that?
I can.
Okay, cool. So you see point A and point B?
I
So
can.
what do I need to do, Ken?
You probably need to go back in and go back out again, I think. I don't know why you can't see it because it is coming through for everybody else.
Okay.
You're just
I'll be back in a
you're
minute.
just another special case. There you go. Okay, I'll see you in a second. Just go back out and go back in again.
Yeah,
Technology
I'll do that.
rears its ugly head one more time. Okay, so the challenge is this. Okay, and as I said, all of us succumb to this. Back to that horse. When if you don't have blinders on the horse, real difficult to keep the horse focused on going down the track. Put the blinders on the horse, so all he or she, depending upon what sex the horse is, uh, all he or she can see is the finish line. That's where you're going to go. And the problem with so many of us is that we don't clearly see the finish line, and we don't. Thank you, Gretchen. And um, we don't stay focused. We bounce back and forth. So many of you guys, and again, when I talk about you guys, trust me, I'm talking about me as well. Okay, so many of us get some emails, get the deal of the day, whether it's that Warrior Forum deal or someone else's need to talk to you, okay, to get you to do something, and the challenge is that we lose that focus and we go to the next thing and we forget exactly what we're here for. So it comes down in a lot of ways to prioritizing what's most important. So who would like to actually work directly? Well, let's just take one person for right now. Let's spend a couple minutes together kind of looking at what you want to achieve. Who wants to play? Okay, Randy, you got a lot of background noise going on back there, so if you do me a favor, self-mute unless you're going to talk to me, that'd be awesome. Who wants to play? Let me open up the questions. You can unmute yourself and talk to me. Okay.
I'll play.
Okay, let's you and I play. Here's Lanita. Okay, so let's play for a second. So Lanita, you got a lot of dreams, goals, and desires, right? What's your big point
Correct.
B? What's your big point B?
In general, to make a big difference.
Okay. Okay, cool. And that's great. Now, my question for you is, what gives you the most passion in your life? In other words, if you could define...
Most passion.
Yeah, if you can define...
Empowering people.
Okay.
Empowering people.
Okay. Now, by the way, you guys, I'm doing this diagram. I am not the king of diagramming or the king of organization. That's not my biggest strength. I can let other people do that. Other people do a better job. My attitude is, and Gretchen, we'll play with you next. Okay, so cool. So just bear with the creative mind working here. Okay, so you love empowering people, and I know that about you, Lanita. That's true. You do. So given that, okay, what would be, if you could define the ideal situation for you? And by the way, as I asked Lanita this question, I want each of you to be thinking about this for yourself. Okay, this is a lot of what I do when we do one-on-one sessions together. Whose deep breath was that? Wow.
Mine.
Wow. Okay, don't
because I have to think about this.
Okay, all right. So here's I gotta think about what I was gonna say. So here's the thing. Okay, we need to understand what the perfect situation looks like for us. It's really easy. It's really easy to say, I want to be in the real estate investment business, for example, or I want to have the perfect website. But unless we understand the purpose behind that, and unless we understand the big, like I said, the big why, that's going to be harder to achieve. It really is going to be much harder to achieve for you. So and by the way, what I find so often is there are tons of things I want to do. And if I did all the things I want to do, I would probably fry my brain and be, and just explode. Because at the end of the day, you can't eat everything. If you're going to go to that big buffet you pick the location for the best buffet ever there. For me, whenever I was traveling, it was always the Chinese buffet that my road crew and I would go to. And I was notorious. I went back minimum of 5 times to the buffet. I wanted everything. And the point is, you can't have absolutely everything on the buffet, and you can't finish the buffet. You may taste a little bit, but at the end of the day, I don't know about you, but I tend to focus on a couple of things I like most. I will taste as many things as I can, but at the end of the day, I focus on a few things. Is that typical for you guys? Do you find that when you go to a buffet or something, you tend to eat more or go back for seconds or thirds of the things you like the most? Okay, I'm seeing a bunch of yeses. Yeah, right? So that's important.
Yeah.
So the reason why I'm saying that is you can taste a lot of stuff, but go back to the things that you love and that really turn you on. And there's nothing wrong with doing that. And by the way, the other thing I'm going to share with you as we get deeper into Lanita's empowerment. See, I'm giving you time to think, Lenita, which you shouldn't have time to think on this. This should be coming from your core.
Mhm.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing. It is completely okay for you to change your mind. It is completely okay for you to change gears. It totally is. I don't care what the rest of the world thinks because it's not about the rest of the world. It's about you. You come first. And therefore, it is completely cool to go down one path and say, you know what, I don't really like this, and then leave and try another path. The cool thing is you've learned along the way. You know, there's been a lesson there. You've learned about A, what you don't like, you know, so what you don't want to do. You've learned B, during the process of that, some tools to build what ultimately will be your big purpose. So let me ask you guys a question. And have you guys ever been to a movie? Well, of course you have. That much I can answer. Okay. How many of you have been to the movies, been to a really bad movie, one that you're like, oh, are you kidding me? Why would you make this piece of crap? And stay through the whole damn thing? How many of you have stayed through a bad movie?
Yes.
Yeah. Why? Why?
Multiple reasons. You didn't want to disturb the other people there. You were concerned about what other people were thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Or you're just lazy about getting up and leaving.
Yeah. Tons of reasons. Tons of reasons. Because Gretchen says, I hope it'll get better. Doriana says, I hope it'll get better. Yeah, we are in the state of hope. At the end of the day, you live in a land of hope, in the land of hope, but hope is a ship that sank. You know what I mean? It 9 times out of 10, it doesn't get better. You know, here's the thing. Get up and leave. And you don't want to inconvenience people. If you had to go pee and you're in the middle of a movie, you're getting your butt up to get out. You know, you just can't keep sitting there. You cross your legs for the next 15 minutes, and during that time you're crossing your legs, you're not watching the movie because you keep thinking about, oh my God, I've got to get up and pee. You know, so you're not in the moment anyway. Here's the thing. We tend to keep ourselves forced in the I must, I should, what will people think mode, and not the, you know what, this just doesn't taste good. I don't want to do this anymore. You know, I mean, we do that a lot. And I want to invite you to consider that tasting is cool, getting started is cool, but cutting your losses and getting out is even cooler. We just took somebody off of our team today, or actually last night, that was with us for 5 days. 5 days. And when we bring somebody on board, we give them 30 days to be on a trial, see if they like us, to see if we like them. But what I tend to do, or what I tend to have done in the past, is give people too many chances. And at the end of the day, I'm the captain of the ship. And if I got somebody on the ship that's not pulling their weight or does not really have the skill set that we need on the ship, the sooner I get them off the boat, the better it is for the rest of the crew, for everybody, for the entire team. So goodbye. Good, you know, thanks for trying, but get off. We need to be mercenary about that. So in deciding what you want to do, it's completely cool to taste and to try and to test. And if things don't work, you change it. When you split test, you rapidly change it. So I want it, and that's an unemotional thing. You know, at the end of the day, when your numbers on a split test say that option B works better than option A, even though you didn't like option B very much, you go with option B. The numbers speak for themselves. We tend to get into the state of emotion about things, and that gets things hard for us, right? So I want to keep us focused, and I want to keep you also flexible and fluid so that you can feel comfortable and have internal permission to change gears. You see, that will help you eliminate overwhelm also, because so many of us are stuck in the here's what I got to do. I don't really want to do it, but here's what I got to do. And there's the not wanting to do stuff, which is okay if it furthers you along to get to point B, to make that difference. So for my Trailblazers, for example, we have people in our Trailblazer group that are from all over the world. We meet every single week, and we have people from Switzerland to Sydney, you know, all over, including North Carolina and New Jersey and Tucson and so on, right? Well, in order for me to serve that group, I have chosen to get my butt up every week at 3 a.m. to be able to be on a call with them at 4 a.m. my time, because it serves the audience in Switzerland and it serves the audience in Sydney and, of course, everyone in between, except poor me in Bangkok. Now, it's not poor me. I made the choice. I made the choice to serve my customers, and I may whine about it at 3 a.m., but at 4 o'clock when I start the call, I couldn't be more excited because it's fun to hang out with them. I made the choice. So maybe I don't like being up at 3 a.m., but I love what it does. You know, so it's okay to not like part of what you're doing, as long as you love the whole piece. It's just parts of everything that maybe you don't like as much, you know? So okay, so I've let you get on for a while. So you love empowering people, but what's the perfect uh, thing for you? And if you could define your day, your week, your month, what would it look like?
Define my day, week, or month.
Yeah, I mean, what?
That's a different way of thinking about it. Define my day, week, or month.
Mm-hmm.
The perfect situation would be that I would be working 4 hours a day, if that, and making lots of money.
Okay. Okay. Now, question then: What? Whoops! What of the things that you do well and that people seem to like? Now, again, what's your name again? um, Lenita's in,
Lenita.
I know. Lenita's in business already, so she's already on the horse, right? And do you love what you do?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, cool. So what would have to happen? In fact, let's do it this way. Let's you and I take a trip down into the future, okay? And let's say that we're 3 years, 4 years in the future. Let's say we're 4 years in the future. Let's go a bit further down, and we are sitting in one of your favorite places. What's one of your favorite places in the world to be in?
Hong Kong.
Okay, so we're hanging out in Hong Kong. We're up on top of the mountain. I forget what it's called. Is it Cable Mountain, is it? I forget what it's called.
Something like that.
Yeah, okay, so we're looking over Hong Kong and the harbor in Kowloon, which is a phenomenal view. Okay, and we're just hanging out and we're having a drink. What's your favorite drink?
Kamikaze.
You're having a kamikaze, all right? And I'm drinking a soda water because that's my typical drink. And we're just hanging out. And I say to you, Lenita, what happened over those past 4 years that got you to this point today where we're hanging out in Hong Kong, having a great life, and you're working 4 hours a day? What happened to create that? Put another way, what would have to happen for you to be in Hong Kong with me drinking kamikazes?
Okay.
And by the way, I'm asking you this question on the first kamikaze before the third. Okay, so we're getting a real answer.
We don't need to get to the third one.
Okay, so I want you guys to be answering that for yourselves. What, being in the place that would be of most satisfaction to you. For me, it's a beach somewhere. Okay, and for others it's Hong Kong. For others, it's maybe at the top of a mountain. Whatever it is, let's be in that place together. And what would have had to have happened over the past 3 or 4 years to get you to this position? Okay, so what would have had to have happened for you to get to 4 hours a day making lots of money, empowering people and making a difference?
I have speaking engagements.
Okay.
I've written a book. I have programs for sale on my website.
I'm gotta see if I can do this easy here. Okay.
I have seminars.
Well, it sounds a lot more than 4 hours a day.
Well, that's true. You said, what did I have to do to get there? And I did the seminars to get there.
Okay. So what is it?
Okay.
So what has to have happened? So you set up some seminars?
Yeah. Seminars that are online training.
Aha.
I'm learning the lingo.
There you
Online
go.
training.
There you go. Okay, cool. Right. Oops.
My website was automated, so it made money 24/7.
So we got systems and automation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Excellent. Whoops. I don't do arrows very well. I'm not trying to do arrows here. Okay, what else?
And I had a very specific focus on what it was I was presenting to people.
Okay, great. Perfect. What's the focus? What was your focus?
Actually, I created it 2 days ago. Passport to Success.
Okay. All right. So was everything that you did over the past 4 years related to Passport to Success?
Absolutely.
Okay. So Let's put Passport to Success right up to the top. Ta-da! Now, the question you got to ask yourself is what pieces, or let me rephrase that, what components make up Passport to Success? So, let me kill that. In other words, there are messages and lessons that need to be given to your students, to your customers, and your clients. This applies to every single one of you listening right now, whether you're investing in real estate or and raising money to invest in real estate. There's components that fill in all of that. For those of you building websites and so on, the fact is, website or not, you still have to have components anywhere from 4 to 7 main pieces to your business that fill your business, that create your business. Okay.
Now, when you say components, what are you actually saying?
I'm going to show you now, darling, is what I mean. Hang
Oh,
on.
thank you so much.
Yeah, happy to do that. So let's jump over here. All right. Okay, so this is the wrong place. Let me take us to totalpreneur.com. Here we go. Okay, so we define here at the Institute for Totalpreneurship 5 basic quests that we base our entire business on. This is our curriculum. If what we're about to do does not fit into the 5 quests, we don't do it. It's not part of our business. It's not part of what we stand for at all. Okay, now I'm going to go through them really, really quick. Okay, the first is the quest for the ideal client or customer. So in order to have a solid business, you need to have a customer you like and respect, and a customer that is somebody you enjoy being around, that really fits what you're looking to do. If you're a sports therapist and you want to deal with people over 60 that get injured, you don't want to be marketing to kids, right? So it's a matter of really finding that ideal client or customer that serves you better, period, or that works with you. If you are a person in an anti-aging niche, for example, probably your ideal client is not going to be somebody in their 20s, because they're going to live forever and they don't care about it yet. But someone in their 40s probably does. So identify what your ideal client is, go for the ideal client, nobody else. Very fundamental. Next, the quest for client development and evangelism. That's taking the client you've got, having them come back for more, giving you more money, okay, and turning them into raving evangelists where they can't get enough of you. We see that a lot, where people keep coming back to webinars with me over and over again, and even the people in our highest coaching levels come back over and over, even though they are already part of the high level program. They come to everything because they still find value and they love it, and they love the environment. So you want to have people that will talk about you behind your back in a positive way. That's the idea. And by the way, when you have evangelists that love you to pieces because they love the experience, you don't need to look for the ideal client anymore, because your ideal clients already bring in their friends and relatives, and so because they just can't stop talking about you. Okay. The third one is the quest for efficient operations, processes, and systems, and that is the ability to have this. That's the ability to have the sanity behind you that allows you to spend time in Hong Kong or climb the Annapurna range in Nepal, or whatever you want to do to build a lifestyle that you want, unless you've got systems in place to do that, like the automated website that you're looking to do, or the automated sales process. In that standpoint, you don't have a business. You get a fire department putting out fires all the time. So systems and processes are essential to building any successful business. Next is the quest. Whoops, let me see what happened here. Whoa, let me back up. The quest for personal excellence, which basically is how to win the inner game. So it's getting into you, giving yourself permission to succeed, dealing with all the things and dealing with the worthiness issues, all the things that allow you to have what you want, rather than being the "I'm not worthy of success," so you shoot yourself in the butt, which, by the way, is typical for so many entrepreneurs. They and including me, and overcoming the myth of I'm an imposter, where I'm not good enough to really teach other people. Fact is, as long as you're one step ahead of the people that you're guiding, teaching, or working with, you're qualified. Excuse me, plain and simple. Okay, and last but not least is the quest for lifestyle awesomeness, which it relates to vibrant health, travel around the world, building a nest egg. So it'll be your real estate investments, for example, helping other people, your spirituality, all of that lumps into having the lifestyle of awesomeness. That's what we stand for at the Institute. So what you've got to do, all of you, is look at what would be the pieces that relate to Passport for Success. What is behind all of that? And that will relate to you and to your story, if you will. In other words, okay, Randy, I love you.
Gracious.
I love you, but I'm muting you. Okay, there you go. That was pretty nasty. Okay, so that's the challenge, you guys. When you open up mics, stuff like this happens. But I want you guys to be actually able to jump in and communicate and work with us. Okay, that's the purpose of this. Okay, so each of you has a story. Each of you has things that you stand for and that you stand against. And for me, in what I want to teach and what I want to share, it relates to those 5 quests. Not 6 quests, not 7 quests, 5 quests, not 4 quests. Okay, so we need to define what it's going to take to get, or what the components of Passport to Success are. Okay, I want each of you to be starting to write that down in a minute. But so let's go through that. In fact, let me do something a different way. Let me go into XMind. Let's diagram it in a different way here. Whoops. 1 second here. We'll use another tool that I've got. And by the way, these are free tools that we're using. This is called YEd, which works on Mac or PC, so you can add flowcharts and things. And the next thing I'm going to show you is called XMind, and that's also free. And if you go to totalpreneur.com/XMind, you can get a download for it. It works PC or Mac once again. And there's an upgrade to it, which we're going to get as well. It's like $79. This is $79 and $99 version, which allows you to save and export and save it to certain things. Okay. Yeah, you may not have heard it, but it came through on my end. So I'll unmute you. Just mute yourself. But there was some really bad noise in the background that came from your end. Weird. So just self-mute yourself, Randy, and I'll unmute you on my end. Okay. Okay. Cool. All right. Excellent. Thank you. Yeah, there's definitely background noise on your end. You just may not be aware of it. Okay, perfect. Okay, so while this thing loads, which seems to be taking its own little time, let's go ahead and again, free tools really are great. They help you stay focused. And this tool, especially for those of you that are in overwhelm, will be a perfect thing for you to use to kind of organize what your overwhelm is. It'll be perfect for you guys, and perfect for finding purpose all the way down the line. So totalpreneur.com/XMind. And by the way, it is not an affiliate link. It's a straight link there. We just like seeing traffic come to our site, basically. And I don't remember what xmind.net or whatever else. So let's just go real quickly here.
.net.
Is it? Yeah. So it'll just take you there. totalpreneur.com/XMind. So the central topic for you, we said, was Passport to Success.
The passport of success.
Passport of Success?
That's okay. Of success, yeah, because I think somebody else has got to success. I've been researching.
Okay. All right. Okay. So we got Passport of Success. Okay, cool. Okay, so now what components, and by the way, we're not going to limit ourselves here. We're just going to add tons and tons of stuff till we get, and then we can dissect back and forth. So this process is about adding as much as you possibly can. Anna says, personally, I think being organized helps focus and prevents being overwhelmed. Exactly. So we've got to organize ourselves. And by the way, you may need to do it every single day. You may get up like, oh God, what do I do today? That's going to be fundamental. Okay. That's going to be absolutely fundamental. So, okay. Passport to Success. What do you stand for? What do people need to know? What would be the fundamentals that are part of what you want to convey to people?
Okay. So I have 6 components.
Okay.
One is overcoming fears.
Okay. Next.
The next one is boundaries.
Boundaries.
Setting boundaries.
Okay. Next.
Path to leadership.
Path to leadership.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Next.
Knowing your authentic self.
Ooh. Okay.
Growth from within.
Growth from within. Okay.
And personal excellence. And I have actually named them different pieces of traveling.
Okay. Oh, perfect. Cool. Great.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. So you've got a theme to all of that. But you've given me the generics right now, right? Okay. So that is correct. This is cool. So all of you, by the way, the nice thing is you can add more. So we can go boom, 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 boom. There's a bunch more topics. And because Lenita's had a little bit of time to start doing this. We've been doing this kind of an exercise within Trailblazers. So she's got a few steps ahead. But when you began, Lenita, you weren't set at 6, were you? You had a bunch of different things.
Oh my word! I didn't even have anything to start with.
Right. So how did you get?
until you, yeah.
How did you get to 6?
When you were, well, that's just, I decided to be easy and effortless, and that's what showed up in my mind, and that's what I'm covering.
Cool. So, but starting this process, what was this process like for you?
Oh, it was phenomenal. I have far more clarity now in what it is I'm going to be speaking on, no matter whether it's on a corporate level or speaking to um, groups that's coming up soon. But it's now, everything that I talk about now will be within these 6 components,
And nothing
and I
else.
don't, and nothing else.
Perfect. Now let's dive in a little bit deeper here, and then I want to go ahead and I want to bring Gretchen. Was it Gretchen who wanted to come in and play? Let's see, where do we go? Somebody said they want to play as well. I want to make sure I don't miss you. Um, I can't see the. Oh, here we go. Yeah, it is Gretchen. Okay, cool. So this is the first step of getting here. Okay, and it will take a while because you may have 20, 30 different places to digest. When I created the quests here, originally it was 4. I had personal excellence and lifestyle of Austin wrapped together in one, and I realized that's inappropriate because your inner game is so fundamental. I mean, that's like the guidance system and everything that goes on. If you don't think you're worthy of success, doesn't matter what the heck you're going to do, you're not going to get there. If you haven't forgiven yourself of the sins of the past, you're going to continue to be less than who you can be. Period. End of story. Doesn't matter anything else. I mean, you'll get some reasonable amount of success, but and by some people's standards, you may be very successful, but by your standard, you will not be, and you will not be happy. So we got to work here. That's like a guidance system to everything, right? So I broke it out because it made sense. So you guys understand something. This is completely changeable. And by the way, it's like the movie. If you're going down overcoming fears, and after a month of playing in the overcoming fears game, for example, you decide, you know what, I don't have a lot of passion for that anymore. It's not resonating. It doesn't seem right. Let's replace it. Let's kill it. Let's get it out of here and do something different. Or let's merge it into setting boundaries or wherever else it might be. Okay, but for right now, let's just deal with overcoming fears, for example. Now what you can do is you now take this area, and we look at the different things underneath. Whoops, I can continue to go deep, but I can now build out overcoming fears with a bunch of different subtopics, and again, move them around, whatever. Same thing with setting boundaries. So what we're doing here is we're actually building the complete model for what you want to do. And so the nice thing is this, that every product you create would relate to these 6 areas, but under overcoming fears, how to overcome fears for X, how to overcome fears for Y. You can drill down to have subtopics, and each of those subtopics can completely be different products and services that fit overcoming fears, which is part of the passport of success. Does that make sense?
Yes.
What about the rest of you guys? Is this making sense to you? See, what this does, and you can unmute and jump in, okay? Or you can just type in the chat. It's up to you, okay? Doriana says yes. Gretchen says yes. Yeah. So the idea is that this allows you to create focus because everything leads to the core, to the passport of success. Now, mind you, we haven't gotten into defining what your ultimate product will be in service. I don't want to get to that right now. We do that on in Trailblazer. We do that in Pathfinder calls when we do our compass sessions, and we do that in strategy sessions as well, getting a bit deeper. But the biggest way, at least, to overcome the overwhelm is to map it out. Map it out, and here it is. Now, you may have a complicated map, and the more complicated you make it, certainly the more overwhelmed you may feel. But at the end of the day, thanks guys, I'm seeing this good feedback here. So at the end of the day, as you do this, it makes it clear. So and here's what happens when you define this core of who you are and what you want. Okay, and by the way, if you're not in this well, let me ask you this question. I'll do it this way: in a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being like I am completely committed, I will walk to the gates of hell for this. I will walk on fire for this. What level are you at?
Are you asking me?
I am asking you.
Great. Then I will answer you. Right now, I'm at a level 10.
Far out. Okay. Guys, if you're not at a level 10, don't do it. And I don't mean a level 10 for today because you hyped yourself up. I mean, to level 10 because in your core, in your gut, you're like, this is why I'm on earth. And I know that sounds really big, but it is big. And it may sound serious, and it is serious, but it's also going to be fun. Because if you're not feeling level 10 with fun and excitement and, jumping around inside of you, and Randy says 10 plus, perfect. Unless you're there, you're never going to achieve it. Even like a 9, sort of like, meh, that's really like a 4 in disguise, right? It's just, it's 10 means something. It means commitment. It means you'll do what it takes. 10 means you'll get your ass up at 3 o'clock in the morning to serve your clients at 4 and not wake up at 5 minutes of 4 with sleep, with sleep in your eyes to get on and be groggy. It means getting up at 3, jumping in the pool, swimming a couple of laps, and being ready to serve your audience. It means that. Now, the coolness of it all is that to get here, you can be at level 10 and without the focus and without the guide that we've built here, or that Lanita's built and that you will build too, you're still like in Never Never Land. You're still realistically in this madness. Okay. This to me is a better way to diagram for sure, because I'm it's more along my speed. Okay. So the coolness is, and this is great for you, Randy. Okay, so you're an author, you do book cover art. I read your post. So you're looking for new customers. Well, laying out what you do, laying out what you stand for, laying out what your artwork is about. It may be more than just book covers, but who needs book covers? Not just independent authors. Book covers are needed by corporations in their marketing departments. Book covers are needed by, and we don't even need to call them book covers, because what's a book cover? It's a marketing piece. Redefine what that is, and now you end up in your center core. It may not be book covers, and it says record labels. Perfect. Okay, you are an image provider, or you're an image creator, or a marketing branding creator. If you think about it, because the idea of a book cover is the book cover has one purpose. What is it? To sell books. Period. So defining who we are, fundamentally important, and then come out to what you're going to provide and think big. And by the way, you'll dissect it down. If you had 30 things listed here, that's totally fine. Then bring it down and see where the commonalities are and put them into 4 to 7 categories, because that's what you can manage. And by the way, you want to tell a story about this to your clients or your customers. You want to tell a story about it. Okay. 3D graphic doodles is my business. Yes, I provide images. Of course you do. And 3D graphic doodles is brilliant. And who needs them? Who can use them? Not just authors. You see? So open yourself up. Now, go into different areas. And maybe if what you got, maybe you're stuck at one. Then keep going down your subtopics. Drill these. You may discover that this becomes part of the main whole, and that these become your business right here. And then you drill out. I don't know what it is yet. We got to deal with that individually. Okay, that's why we do a lot of our strategy sessions. That's why we spend a lot of time in our Trailblazer program going through some of those stresses, right? But as you build the clarity here with a tool such as this, and a free tool such as this, it becomes so much easier for you to see what the opportunities are. I mean, if you did a program on setting boundaries, it fits into this. And by the way, this Passport to Success, your core of your mission, ultimately that's going to be a high-end program, product, service, whatever that is. Okay, if you're wanting to invest in real estate and you're looking to raise money, and I forget who put that through, that's in that state. I've been there. Okay, your customer is an investor, not the bank. We don't want you having a bank. Let me rephrase that. You can have a bank, but we don't want you going to the bank, because the bank's favorite answer is no, or give us your left ventricle. So we're going to investors. Investors require certain things, and so that's going to be a level of confidence, right? So, and bringing people into a deal, easy to do. People are always looking for opportunity, So working with investors, you'll be going through, what do they need? Well, they need to overcome their fear. Okay, they need to know what the opportunity is. They need to see the property, or know what your plans are for the property. These are fundamentals, and then you fill gaps to give them that. Same idea, guys. It's the same program. You define it. You completely define it. Okay, so that's kind of the overall basics. As long as you've got this, by the way, in the center is your destination, and these things, and then you can map out and go further than that, further with it. Telling the story of here's the reason why Passport to Success is important. First, you must overcome your fears because of blah. Here, it relates to your story and who you are, and people get engaged in that. We talk about the Institute for Totalpreneurship, which, by the way, showed up for me magically in December of last year because I finally became clear about what I wanted to do and what was important to me, which was to help people, to really teach people more than just provide software solutions. And that's become my primary focus. We've got amazing software that we still offer. And it's getting better and better. It's amazing what we've got planned for SiteWrap, for example. But SiteWrap really, to me right now, is a lead generator. A tremendous tool. We love selling it. We love teaching people how to use it. But it's a tool to bring them into our main core business, which is training and education and coaching and guidance and empowerment. That's what it is, period. So you may find that your number one product or service right now is nothing more than a lead generator to a bigger purpose for you. Okay. So Linda, was this helpful so far?
Yes.
Good. Good. Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm taking notes.
Good. Okay. Not a problem. Okay. So this is the idea, and this is what we're doing with you, Lenita. Now, for the rest of you guys, has this part been helpful? Brandy says yes. Very good. Excellent. Okay. As I said to you guys in the promo for this is about serving you guys. So, I want to use this time to really help you. Plain and simple. This is what it is. Okay. So Mike says great. Excellent. Cool. Perfect. So let's see, who was it? It was Gretchen. Gretchen, are you ready to play? Let's see if you are muted. Let's see where you are. Gretchen, where are you? There you are. Okay, I muted you. Hang on. Okay, Gretchen, are you ready to play? Have I muted you?
I am ready to play.
Yay! Okay, perfect. Okay,
Yes.
so okay, let me open up a new workbook here. Let's see if I can find. Here we go. All right. And by the way, I will give you guys these. Whoa. I don't want to open one. I want to do a new one. Excuse me. I will give you guys these workbooks. But since I haven't bought Xmind yet for myself, I'll give it to you only in Xmind format right now, which means you got to get free Xmind to go ahead and use it. So you can go ahead and you can tie off of that. So let's talk about Gretchen. Gretchen, what are you currently doing right now?
Well, my process is so much further, so not nearly as far along as the last beautiful lady who you were working with.
Okay.
I am in the wellness industry and have been for over 13 years, but I see clients in a physical office, and I really desire to be able to receive passive income and work from anywhere in the world. My husband and I both really love to travel.
Okay, perfect.
And so ultimately, I see huge shifts happening in the ways I generate and receive income.
Okay.
I also require more income than I am currently receiving just for my current expenses. So I'm in this funny place of how do I add a little, how do I get from where I am right now to where I want to go, because I don't really want to keep doing what I'm currently doing, and I'm really ready to make that shift, but the steps in between are foggy.
Okay, unclear for us?
Yes.
Okay, can anybody relate to that, by the way? Just to make sure that, Gretchen really is the only person here with that situation, and she's completely unique and just a total mess. Okay, and by the way, in the chat, you guys can unmute yourself and answer that question. But unanimously what's coming through on the chat, by the way, is you're not alone, sweetie. Okay.
Yay!
Okay, congratulations. You're not alone.
I have
all right?
lots of ideas, and that in itself, being so creative, is a bit overwhelming too, because it's like, wow, how do I get started? Which ideas do I choose?
Right.
And how do I do enough with what I'm currently doing, yet still start something new to make that shift?
Exactly. And of course, you're not satisfied because you're not getting all what you want. So therefore, you're like spinning and going,
And
oh my
I
God.
don't want to bring any more clients. I need to bring in more clients to make more money right now, but I don't want to bring in any more clients because I don't want to do any more of that kind of work.
Right. And guess what? The I need to is also a lie you tell yourself, because you don't need to.
Yes.
Okay. Going back to the quest for client development and evangelism. If you have the current clients upsold to more things or more frequency of purchases or bigger purchases, that's going to bring you in more money. Right. So you don't need to go do anything like that. You just need to be more creative and more open. So you're there. Now, what is it? I was fiddling with this a little bit. What is it? What is the service that you provide?
Currently, it's massage therapy.
Okay. Oh yeah, I love massage therapists. No, I do seriously.
I still love giving it sometimes, just not all the time, and I want to continue love giving it to the people I love giving it to, but not depend on it for my income.
Yeah, the problem with massage therapists, the problem with chiropractors, the problem with all these sorts of businesses is that unless you have other people working with you to provide the service, you're relying on yourself. And if people don't show up,
Right.
or if you go away, you're not doing anything. Okay. Um, yeah,
And in
yeah,
making that shift, I've debated whether I bring in another therapist so that I can take on more clients, but I don't really want to manage a business of massage therapists.
I
I really want
understand.
to travel and have things simplified and automated.
Awesome. Okay, and we'll get to that. We'll get to that. And by the way, uh, my passion for massage therapy is, just so you understand, so that we're on the same page here. I had a headache that lasted me a month, solid month, and nobody could fix it. Chiropractor couldn't fix it. Doctor couldn't do it. They were like, take pills. Don't get stressed out. All that was complete BS. Went to my friend Ronnie. He's as far as I'm concerned, he's family. Who's down in Fort Lauderdale, and in the space of 30 minutes, it was gone forever, gone,
Wow.
gone. And he's not, and
Lovely.
he's really a sports therapist. He really is. He's a sports therapist, and licensed as a massage therapist. He does probably in revenue over $300,000 a year. Appointments are 30
Mm.
minutes. There's no candles or any of that kind of stuff. It's Frank Sinatra in the background. Where now he's graduated to light jazz. What is it? Smooth jazz. Okay, so in terms of and by the way, there's a waiting list to see him because he fixes people, right? So the model of what you do, can be different. And by the way, he can't replace himself. He's got a problem with that. There's
Yeah.
nobody that wants to work as hard as him. So
Well, that's a problem for me too, in a sense. I do an enormous amount of therapeutic work, and that's a hard thing to
yeah,
replace.
it is.
To find somebody with the exact skills and ability to offer what I offer.
Well, he hasn't found people with the exact skills. He's been trying to train people, and he's found that they don't have the same ethic. So
Right.
yeah, and if they don't, they're out. Plain and simple. He had someone that was really good, and then she flaked out, which was a disappointment. But nonetheless, so there's a deep frustration. Now he loves to travel too, and they will shut down for a couple weeks and do cruises, through wherever he and his wife, and we'll go to New York and
A
go to the
couple weeks
theater.
isn't enough for me. A month is a
Yeah,
nice minimum if I'm
yeah,
going to go somewhere.
exactly. So let me ask you a question. What other things turn you on?
Um, Nature and wildlife,
Okay.
and so I've thought about some projects in those regards. And
Okay.
then, my expertise is more in the wellness component. There's a bunch of things I could teach, and I've done some journaling about different product ideas.
Okay. So let's see. And what's your favorite place in the world that you either have been to or would like to go to?
Just one.
Well, just give me one.
Okay, Bali, Indonesia.
Bali. Okay. Have you been to Bali?
I have
Okay,
met my
cool.
French husband there.
Oh, lovely. Okay, cool. So Bali has a really great place for you. Okay, great. So imagine that we're leaving Ubud, okay, and we're just kind of going up to the rice fields, one of the most beautiful parts of the island, and we're just what's your favorite part? If we're going to sit someplace and have a drink together, where we're going to go?
Um, we could go to Bali Buddha, I think it's called.
Okay,
They have
not sure where
lots of
that.
healthy, delicious things.
Okay, so we're gonna go to Bali.
Or the
What?
rice. Let's go back to the rice. The
Okay,
rice fields. We're out
okay.
in the rice fields. We're having a cup of tea.
Okay, so we're at rice fields. We're having a cup of tea. The rice fields, by the way, for you guys that have not been to Bali yet, are just breathtaking. It's not rice paddies. It's actually the rice fields, and you see them kind of going up into the hills, and it's just magnificent. It really is.
They're terraced.
Yeah, right. Exactly. They're terraced. They're amazing. They're just absolutely amazing. And you want to talk about feeling inspired? Great place to be. So we're sitting there having a cup of tea, looking at the rice fields, and we're looking back. This is now 3 years in the future. Okay. And I look over to you and I say, Gretchen, my God, you look amazing. You look in total peace, complete happiness. What a pleasure to hang out with you. What had to happen over the past 3 years for you to get here? And what did you do to get here with me today, to be in this space?
I accepted my own competence and believed in myself.
Okay. Okay. What else?
And I have my thriving online business.
Okay.
I just work a few hours a week. Things are highly automated,
Okay.
yet I'm still able to have deep, meaningful connection with the people that I get to work with and whose lives I touch
Okay.
or impact.
Okay.
I'm deeply inspired by the people that I serve or work with, or who buy my products, or whatever that looks like.
Okay. By the way, having that level of inspiration is going to be the key to your success, to all of you, because when you care that much and you love your clients and customers, they sense it, and they will walk through the gates of hell for you. They will. And that's how you create raving evangelists. When you are in this position, it becomes a mutual love affair. It really does. So, in terms of having this thriving online business and deep connection and being inspired with them and so on, so connection being really important. What's the business look like?
I'm pausing just because I'm thinking about the nature and wildlife component too.
Okay.
That's really, really inspiring to me too. But those are two different business directions as far as.
Doesn't necessarily need to be. Don't limit yourself right now.
Okay.
Doesn't mean. I mean, can you not?
So the products that I've created relating to nature and wildlife are impacting. Oh my God, I'm gonna cry. Are impacting. Are having a profound impact on Mother Nature, and we are about to increase our donations from 20 to 50% of our profits.
Cool. Say that one more time.
We are about to increase our. We have already increased our donations to 30%, and we're about to increase our donations to 50% of our profits.
Nice.
Yeah.
Excellent.
To go towards foundations that help to preserve Mother Nature and help educate people about taking care of their land and nature and how to, and also preserving both the habitat and wildlife.
Okay, cool. So
Of animals.
Nice. Okay, let me do nature and I'll add wildlife to this. Okay, cool. So what is it in terms of what you did? What did you do? I mean, you obviously aren't running a massage business anymore. Okay. Okay. Let's see. So sorry, I'm looking at Anna's note. Anna, you definitely want to connect with me for sure. Okay, I'll get you. I've got something in mind for you. So where are we here? Okay, so what, you got rid of the massage business. What happened to give you the flexibility to replace the income of that massage business to be able to be with me in Bali today? And I think your next trip is somewhere super fun too. I'm not sure where I forgot what you told me you're going next, but you travel a bunch, and you're
Yes,
what's that?
Yes, we do. We travel a bunch.
Yeah, right. It's great. It's great. So, given that scenario, okay, because you are now a totalpreneur, because totalpreneurs have everything. What did you do to replace the income of the massage therapy business so that you could sanely transition without causing yourself all sorts of hassle?
I created my own products.
Okay. Okay, and what kind of products were they?
Wellness for people and our planet.
Okay. Tell me about the products.
I help people learn how to take care of themselves physically, and I have learned how to have a fun and successful work-life balance and I teach other people how to create balance in their life.
Okay.
And and I've created lots of books about nature, and the
Okay.
proceeds from those books are able to be channeled into different foundations and whatnot that help preserve Mother Nature and educate people about taking care of the planet.
Okay, cool. So the scope of the books is really to sort of serve the planet along the way, right?
Yeah, this. I'm
okay.
sorry. Your question is?
Okay.
What's your question?
The concept of the books is really to work towards preserving the planet.
Yes.
Okay, got it. Now, what was the hook that you had that motivated people to take care of themselves and have fun in the work area? What did you do that took people from being in the state of or the color of gray and turning them into the color of red or bright blue or whatever, that turn them from like to actually paying attention? What was it that attracted them?
Getting out of constant stress mode and into a state of ease within their body and their life.
Okay. So let's do this. Let's change gears here and go here. Okay. So here's what we are. We're creating products right now, right? So, and because the idea is that we're looking to connect with people and really teach them how to create themselves and create a balance. Yes?
Yes.
Okay. So let's go here.
Actually, it's less about creating balance and more about having having our exuberant, healthy life.
Okay.
Or being healthy, happy, and exuberant.
I like that. Let's do something here. Whoops.
Yeah, the happy is important.
Oh, you think? Okay.
I guess exuberant is kind of along the lines of happy.
Okay. We'll work this through and give it more of a branding piece to it. So we got that. So what is it going to take to get to that healthy, happy, exuberant life? One of them you said was what? You said
one of them.
You said balance, right?
Yes.
Okay. What else? Let me see if I can close this.
Surrender and letting go.
Okay. Okay. What else?
Connecting with our divine vision or divine life vision.
Oh, divine. Here we go. I thought you said hard defined, which to a lot of people may be having the problem of getting defined. Yeah. Connecting with divine with vision.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What else?
Or life. Yeah. Feeling good in our body.
Okay.
Feeling good in your body.
Okay. Okay. What else?
I'm wondering how the nature component comes into this. You know, I hadn't really thought about about it being one vision or business, but that was an interesting comment of it doesn't have to be, that she said.
Yep, it doesn't. It doesn't.
Because when we're one with nature and one with life, then it contributes to the feeling good and being happy and healthy.
Yep. See, here's the thing. The beauty is, I mean, I'm going to play a little bit of a devil's advocate piece with you. Each of us is different. Each of us is unique. And a lot of us, and what I'm seeing more and more of is as the planet gets more aware and open to change and to more spirituality, I guess, maybe a better way to put it. I'm not really sure of the right terminology right now, but we're certainly becoming more aware of things. There are more and more people that want to share this. And what that means is that you've got to create your own uniqueness, your own specialty that will have people run to you and praise you to the ends of the earth. That makes you different than Mary, Bill, Tom, Jeff, and Tony Robbins. All of that, because you resonate with them better, and that's going to come from you being healthy, happy, exuberant, and clear, right? And this, by the way, is all of you. Randy's saying that life is part of nature, the biggest part. Absolutely. So
what did she say?
Randy says that life is part of nature, the biggest part, right? So if nature's turning you on, and I share that with you, then creating something that relates to balance, surrender, and so on, feeling good in your body, tying that in with nature may very well be that you do some live retreats. It may be, that there's another element that you add to it that really creates the difference for you. So, and you got to be careful about it, because, if you got to market.
Can you specify what you mean by another element that creates the difference for you?
Yeah.
That last sentence, that last comment you made.
Sure. What we're doing is we're going to create a uniqueness, or better yet, a unique selling proposition that makes you special. That you are the get your shit together lady. That's all about nature. Something, and that's just
Sure.
That's really coarse. But I'm kind of getting to kind of bottom up.
No, I got it.
All right.
Yeah.
So and I don't know the answer to this. You've got to figure this piece of it out.
Sure.
You want to do stuff virtually for sure, but you could also do live events that are completely nature related, such that you're going to give people balance, surrender, connection to divine vision, and so on in webinars and a variety of courses. And again, we'll dig deep here with all the different sub areas here, right? That dives deeper. And you got a lot of work to do here. This is just the tip of the iceberg in the beginning of your process, right?
Yeah.
But so what you can do is you can give them this virtually, and then you can have quarterly events or whatever in places you want to go to. Okay, because it's about you're building your vision, and people that share that will come, right? So I've got one client who does horse tours in Colorado, right? And she's got the total passion for that. So what she wants to do is get people to be coming to her horse tours. Now it's a physical business, but that's her passion. That's what she wants to do. And by the way, she can schedule those so that, maybe every 2 months she's got a horse tour, and the rest of it she's in Bali or she's in the south of France. So you get to choose how the nature component is going to show up. Maybe the nature component shows up for people that live in New York or Boston or LA, and aren't ready to head out into the suburbs. Maybe it shows up in something that's a screensaver, or something else that reminds them of me. I don't know what it's going to be. You got to kind of define that.
Sure.
But here's the thing: unless we have one central core, we got a problem. All of this overwhelm business happens in big part because we don't have just one clear direction. And when I talk to people about their websites, for example, it's funny. I get in a lot of discussion, if you will, with people that, I have 14 different websites. Well, yeah, no wonder you're not so successful, because you have no great one.
It's hard to know where to focus your energy.
Precisely. So what we've done and what we're doing is we're combining all of our sites, for example, in one. And if you are going to create whatever the brand of healthy, happy, and exuberant is, and it may be something along that line, or it may be something the blah 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 academy, whatever. And we created the Institute for Totalpreneurship because we wanted to give it some credibility and not be some Yahoo that's selling online stuff. The idea is that we really are building a faculty. We really are building trainings and course direction to get people to be able to travel the world and build the business and the lifestyle that they want. Period. That's what we stand for. So for you, as you develop your one website, it will have the different components. And again, you got a lot of work to do to fill this in, and then look at what the commonalities are. Get into that state of creativity. And write, and just don't stop. Don't judge, just write. In fact, go into like Microsoft Word or Pages if you're on a Mac or whatever, or whatever you write on, even if it's manual. I like the idea about doing it on a computer because I can move stuff around. But wherever you all get passionate, start writing and just keep going. And don't censor, just keep writing. Because really cool stuff will happen very quickly for you and you'll find answers. Because you'll get into that space of creativity, which if you wanted to get like really deep, it's the divine, it's the conversations with God thing. But truly weird, amazing things happen when you let yourself just go and write and don't judge, just keep going. Really cool stuff will happen. You'll go, oh my gosh, aha. And then look for the commonalities and then leverage from there. Okay. That'll be a great way for you all to get started. All right. Randy says.
I'm also hearing you say earlier, oh, pardon.
Go ahead.
You were talking earlier about adding a bunch of different modules. We've got 5 main components here, but I'm hearing you say journaling and add a bunch of components, find the commonalities, and then add some of those in with, make one category to
Bingo.
find them.
Right. If you've listed 100 things you want to do, I dare say that those 100 things will fall into 4 to 7 categories. You may have subtopics that 17 fit in here, and 12 fit in here, and 3 fit in here. But that's cool because now you have your I'll use it in my terms. You have your curriculum for connecting with divine vision, right? And so now as you build your products and your services, you now have all those little things that come underneath it. And I shouldn't even say little, but all the things that come underneath it are now part of your curriculum, products, your services, your content. So it makes things really easy to be clear about. So now you're not looking at 100 things that are driving you crazy, giving you overwhelming, wondering what the hell you're supposed to do. Now you're looking at, I got balance, surrender, connection, and again, I want you to define these as as areas of focus, course areas or whatever. All right, and those topics, those areas, then become the big pieces that it's like the spokes to your wheel. That's it. That's all you need to do. The rest of it fills in.
So there may be lots of different products in each category.
Yes.
And then they all come together somehow.
Yes, they all come together, and you want to be traveling the world and building a business that makes a bunch of money where you can make contribution. And by the way, that contribution does not necessarily need to be economic. The contribution could be that you go someplace for a week with your group of people and they do something. My mom volunteered in, I think it was Kenya or South Africa. It was South Africa, I think it was. And she worked with lions and tigers for, I think it was for a couple of weeks. So, and she's feeding she's feeding tigers, like live tigers, like meat. Yeah, amazing. I've seen some pictures of it. So you can create environments like that for people where it doesn't necessarily need to be about money. It can be about services too, because sometimes services are even more important than money. So lots of stuff that you can create, but start writing. Every single one of you start writing. For example, where's my book guy? Hang on a second. And Randy. Okay, so you got the 3D graphic doodles. Start, get into that creative space. Some people in the old days, it was like, take the hit of a joint and get into that space. You don't need to do that. I never did. Although some people around me got very creative, have some time, just, set yourself away, go sit in nature if that's what serves you, and journal. What I do in the morning, not my 3 a.m. mornings, but I'll go down to the pool. And you've seen my pool videos. Most of you have, any rate. I go down to the pool and I start writing. I have my iPad. I bring out a portable keyboard, and I'm writing for easily 30 minutes. And great stuff happens. All sorts of solutions, all sorts of possibilities, things I may never ever do, get written down. Doesn't matter. The fact is that you're getting stuff out of you, and it clears all the crazy stuff in your mind. Another really important thing to do. Okay, so then as you go back and look at those commonalities and the things that are like, this is perfect, you'll get some ahas that will you'll just be like, oh my God, that's it. You'll find stuff like that. Those are the places you want to be. Now, by the way, if surrender, letting go isn't one of your cores, get it off of here. Move it to a subtopic someplace else, or get it off completely. This is movement. This is consistent movement. Randy says, do your webinars from a park on a laptop, and the natural element can be seen as the backdrop. Yeah, you can hangouts that way. I do pool videos, guys. Why do I do my videos in the pool? It's pretty simple, actually. It's easier. bottom line, it's easier than having to, take a shower, make sure my hair is right, make sure that the lighting is perfect, and the backdrop looks good, and that the apartment's clean, and all that stuff, and make sure that the shirt's not wrinkled. I get myself in the pool. My hair's wet. That's what you expect being in a pool. And by the way, it sets the environment for people to be like, he's living the totalpreneur lifestyle. He's hanging out at the pool, which I do. I swim a few laps, get myself excited, get myself in state. I talk to you, and that's what I do. I'm not reading a teleprompter. I'm not getting formal. None of that. Okay, and if there's noise or something, I shot a video for someone yesterday, and like the towel, I had a towel that was on top of the camera so that I could dry my hands before I'm turning the iPad on to shoot the video, and the towel started falling down. I didn't edit that out. I left it in there. It made it more entertaining. So don't be caught in your formalities of should. Be caught in the realities of who you are. People get engaged by that. People love that. So I did the video for this event was done from the Pilates room, or the yoga Pilates room in my gym, the mind body room. And I was lucky enough. I went in. I was going to do an anti-gravity yoga video for you guys, but the Pilates equipment was out, so it was perfect. And turned out there was a lot of movement in the video because I was actually moving my feet on the Pilates thing while I was shooting it. Who cares? So go ahead and be real and let your audience, let your customers see who you are. Let your investors see who you are as well. Yeah, not a problem, Dan. We'll invite you to a recording as well. Sure, I'll get you an email assuming the recording came out okay. So anyhow, that's the mindset. Okay, is really letting yourself go and seeing what the possibilities are. You want to raise money for your real estate. Look at what your investors need. Understand what they need and give them what they want. It's that simple. When I raised money for all of my real estate, people were looking for safety and security and returns. Well, I wish I had safety and security for them. And since the market turned to crap, we all lost our money. That wasn't part of the plan. But over the years, people made a lot of money with me, right? So we give them safety, we give them security. It's what they're looking for. When you're investing in real estate, you still have a customer. You got to think about that. It's not just the investment. If you're raising money now, if you're buying it for yourself with your own cash or whatever, it's all about that. So that's the idea. Let's see. Mike says, I started a page on my desktop called Good Stuff and put everything on it. Later, I'll pull it together in the commons. Yeah, that's a great idea. Or go and do something within XMind, for example. You can totally do this. This is mind mapping software. If you're not familiar with mind mapping, the idea is your mind doesn't work linearly. I mean, you're not going to, most people at any rate, shouldn't say you're not going to, but we don't just do, A, B, C, because if you want to go back to this, it messes up where you're at, especially if you're writing by hand. The idea about mind mapping is that your brain goes in different directions. You go here, then you bounce to here, then you go bounce to here. So what's cool is you can, you're trying to really go, and then suddenly as you're here, your mind thinks, I got something for my body. Let's go here and put it in. And there, now you got a body thing. And then, let's go back to balance. So the idea is that you can create really cool stuff, and then you can go back and design it and define it. So I do things in a couple places. I do this in XMind, and for processes and systems, I do this, because this is kind of cool. I just lay out the pieces, and then they can be moved around. When I do systems for websites, and when I do systems for how I can do promotions and campaigns, I lay this out, and then there's lines that go in between them, and so on and so forth. Okay, and this is now what we're using within our coaching programs, because I can share the actual screens with everybody, since this software is free and works PC or Mac. So everybody gets the idea to go in and they can modify it and play with it. See, so this gives you the ability to go ahead and really create the clarity that you're looking for. You got to get past the what's the word I'm looking for? Past the confusion, and the way we're going to do that is by focus. It's really simple. So, for example, we worked with Patrick a little bit ago. So welcome back, Mr. Maroney. Glad to see you here, sir. And when we worked with him for a little bit, we took him from a few business opportunities that he was thinking about, and then the bottom line, what's your biggest passion? We discovered his big passion was putting together an indoor. What was it? I'm going to say it wrong. Indoor football, which is that right, Matt Patrick? Am I saying it right? You're muted. But he has a giant passion for that. And then we started going around circle. Now, we didn't use the software when we did it, but we started going around, what else can we do to build that business? and the level of excitement that he was experiencing. And you can unmute yourself and jump in on that if you want. Was perfect. Sam says this is an excellent webinar. Interesting presentation will be an understatement. Wow, thank you so much. You're so raw and authentic. This is wonderful content. I really want to get a copy of the recording so I can listen to the webinar again. Thank you, Sam. I appreciate that. My map is the next step to level. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that. So we're kind of reaching the end of our time here, and a number of you have said, how can I take the next step? And let me share with you what we can do together very quickly. This is really 100% about serving you. So you've heard me talk about Trailblazers a bit. And you heard Lanita. Lanita is one of my Trailblazer members. So is Doriana, who's with us. And Trailblazers is one of our higher level coaching programs. We have two high level programs. One is our Excalibur Society, which at the moment is closed. And by the way, talking about nature and talking about traveling, we travel to different places all across the world. 4 trips a year to fun places like the Galapagos, like Iceland. Great Wall of China, Nepal, that sort of thing. So really cool group of people, small group, intimate group, and a really high level of program. The other program that I want to invite you guys to join us in is our Trailblazers. Trailblazers meets once a week. I'll actually tell you what it's about. It meets once a week, and it's like a family. And Lanita, if you want to jump in, or Doriana, if you want to jump in and share your experience of what it's been for you, you're more than welcome to do that while I find myself lost on the screen over here to find out where we go. Right, here we go. So if you want to pop in, you're more than welcome to.
Sure, it's a great opportunity to realize that you're not in the boat by yourself as far as your mind is concerned. Through the Trailblazer and the fact that he ended up putting someone in the hot seat, I was able to take the X-Mind and create something with it, and it has just been fabulous.
Thank you.
So there's some clarity there that has not been there before, and I'm looking forward to blazing forward.
Awesome, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, appreciate that. Cool. And Patrick, you can jump in too. Any way you want, it's fine. What we do, and by the way, there's a curriculum that actually developing within Trailblazers. I mean, that we're specifically developing that covers our 5 quests. So we're building that curriculum specifically for Trailblazers, by the way. So you guys have more stuff coming that you're not even aware of, I don't think. So what you get with Trailblazers is we do a training call once a week. It's called I call it the World Domination Training Call, and we talk about what's working right now. Everybody is in it together. And so we may focus for the entire call on Lanita or on Randy or on Patrick or on Doriana, and everybody benefits because we're all working together. It's amazingly powerful. And every time we leave, takeaways are huge. That's fundamental. We're developing an assessment, which I'm hoping we'll have ready for you guys next week. We just hired 2 programmers to finish it because Matt's been overwhelmed. But the idea is to really determine what your biggest strengths are, what your biggest, what's the word I'm looking for, potentials are, and dive deeper into leveraging your strengths and how you can really overcome things. It's not about focusing on your weaknesses, because I believe that focusing on your weaknesses keeps you focused on weakness as opposed to focusing on your strengths. Outsource your weaknesses, which is why I want your operation systems and processes to be strong, so that way you can bring people in to handle those, so you can focus on that, the 80-20, the 20% that you're strongest at, because that's total leveraging your strengths. Huge for you, okay? When you're a member, you get 20% discount on all of our products and services, up to $500. So on our higher level programs, like our online events, Success Formula course, which started out at $5,000, they got $500 off on that. So that was pretty cool. Access to our new Flip Funnel training, which we're releasing next month, which is all about starting from the top. So for example, if Excalibur was open, that's where we would start. And if you don't qualify for Excalibur, we would then go down the line to the lower numbers, rather than starting with a $7 thing, which you don't want your first connection with a customer to be $7. You want your first connection with the customer to be where they see the future, where they see the trips around the world with you, where they see, the potential with you. They see sitting in Hong Kong or sitting in Bali, whatever, and they recognize that to ascend with you, your top program may be $10,000. And I'm hoping that it's at least that, and that that is where you need to be with those customers, and then if they come in at $7, if that's where they can be right now, that's fine. You gradually grow them, again, following your mind map. You grow them from, subtopic 1, moving up into the center, and the center is going to be that top level course, $10,000, $20,000, $4,000 weekend retreat, whatever it is that you choose to do. Again, that's something that as a member of Trailblazers, we work that through. Okay, that's the whole idea, to really build and develop your business. Okay. Let's see. The podcast should be launching within the next few weeks, and we're going to have a podcast that will go to the public as a lead generator. But the outtake part, where I get to talk to our guests, off the record, you're going to get access to those as well. And then the Google Plus community, which is going to be which is a Trailblazer community only. Okay, so that's where you guys, and by the way, I had a strategy to talk last night about that as to how we're going to be building it for you. It's going to be awesome. There's one other bonus that you get as well, and that is we're launching Totalpreneur Magazine, and that should be launching next month also. It will be free online, and Totalpreneur Magazine is all about creating, again, it's the 5 quests. The cool thing about it is that every member of Trailblazers gets their own column in it. So what that means is that you get to showcase your products, your services, your expertise. It's not advertising. It's not a page of advertising. It's a page where you teach, you train, you provide value with links back to your site. So it's a lead generator, and it's a credibility piece, because you can now say, I'm published in. So not only will you have your own personal page, your personal column, if you will. And by the way, of course, it's subject to editorial. We want to make sure that it's done right, looks right, and so on. So if it fits the magazine and serves you best. But also our faculty is getting them as well. Our JB partners are getting them. So we're building something that's going to be marketed heavily worldwide, because that's the whole purpose of it. It's to build and expose you. So that's what Trailblazers is all about. It really is. If you like what we did here, you'll love Trailblazers. If this wasn't resonating for you, you're not going to love Trailblazers, because it's open mic, and it's we help each other, plain and simple. And that's why I get up in the middle of the night, because it's so much fun. What we normally do, our tuition for Trailblazer is actually $2,500 a year, excuse me. I'm used to doing it as a monthly. It's $2,500 a year for the actual membership. It's annual, okay? You can come in on a monthly basis at $247. But what I wanted to do for you now is, and by the way, for you guys that are paying monthly in Trailblazers, if you want to upgrade to do an annual and save some money, you can totally take advantage of this right now too. I didn't think about this, but obviously if we're giving people coming in as new members, we're giving them an opportunity to take advantage of this. You guys are welcome to take advantage of it as well. So it would be basically $19.97 for you to come in and just click this button over here. It will take you to an order page, which is somewhat confusing, I must admit, because we haven't figured out within Infusionsoft how to do this right within the past few hours. We created this today. So when you go ahead and oh, by the way, the special link for this is, see, don't you love how well we sell here? Totalpreneur.com /join Trailblazers. Okay. It's right there. Anyway, you'll see the first year of 1997, and then the successive years after that, should you choose to stay with us, which we expect you will, then it's $2,500 a year. So, or if you want to go to monthly after that, you're welcome to go to the $247 a month. Your price will be fixed, by the way. Trailblazers is going up, by the way. It is going up. So, you will, when you come in as charter members, you're grandfathered in. Your price will never rise. It will never rise. We're just giving you $500 tuition. Basically, it's like a scholarship towards your first year tuition. So if you want to do that, go to totalpreneur.com /TB. If you're not 100% sure, you're not really clear, and you would like to speak with me, then I will encourage you to get on to one of our free strategy sessions. Patrick, you've been in a strategy session with us before on the one-on-one. What was your experience of that?
Oh, hi, Ken. Yeah, no, I loved it actually, because, like you said before, I had a lot of different business ideas, what I wanted to do, and I put them forward to you. And as it turned out, we ended up doing something completely different, because, like you said, we found out where my passion lies. So I found it very helpful. Thanks.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I don't know, Dorian, if you're able to speak or not. Lindy, you and I have not done our session yet together. We're doing it. we just haven't gotten it together yet. But the beauty of this is it's all about you. So I invite you all to come into a strategy session with me. There's a link for that as well. It's totalpreneur.com/make-and-appointment. I should probably shorten that URL. But anyway, go ahead and set yourself up with an appointment. The opportunity for you guys to come in at $500 off is really a one-day thing. It's a take action piece here. So and by the way, it's 100% guaranteed. Of course, if you're not thrilled, I don't want you in the program. Simple. So it's really simple that we want to make sure you're happy. It just comes down to that because I want you. Shall you what? Shall you register? Oh, well, you're doing a compass session with me on Tuesday. So let's wait till after Tuesday, Lenita, on that. Because I want to be able to leverage that afterwards. Okay. You may not want to, you get one strategy session. So if you front end load it, we may want to do it. It may be more bang for the buck for you to do it with me like in another month or two when you're further along, especially what we're going to do for the 2 hours in the compass session. Okay. So I think you're better to not blow the wad here. You know what I mean? But I encourage the rest of you guys, if you have a choice, you can jump in here this way, either way, you can jump into a strategy session, but I'm only offering this, and to be fair to everybody, I'm only offering this right now for the day. Okay. But either way, it's a phenomenal opportunity for you guys. It's a great offer. I just can't keep this open longer than that because it's not fair to everybody else. Okay. So that's it. If you want to keep going with me, would love to bring you on. What's really interesting is that there are people that wouldn't even come to this webinar because they were afraid to admit they either had overwhelm or were human, and that's not my audience. My audience is you guys. By the way, one other thing I should mention: if you decided, if you feel that we resonate and that we would do well together, then we want to talk and I want to bring you on. If money is an issue, then let's talk. I'm not going to let money today be an issue for your future. Okay, we'll figure something out. If this resonates, you'll figure out a way to do it. We'll figure out a way to do it. So I don't want you eliminating yourself from consideration because today may be a lean day. Plain and simple. If we believe together that this makes sense for you and this will help you, then we'll work together. We'll figure it out and we'll make it work. Cool? Because this is about building for you. This is not a hobby for me. So, that's the complete conversation there in terms of really being able to serve you the way you need to be served, So, any other questions? Cool. Well, then I'm going to ask you one of my favorite questions that we do in every one of our sessions, and that is, what were your takeaways today? What were your big takeaways from today? And you guys can unmute yourself or you can put in the chat. But what value are you taking away from today's session?
I think the mind mapping helping you to get clarity was fabulous.
Thank you. Gretchen, okay. I'm not sure, Gretchen, what you're saying. We are just comment for you. Are we finished? I can't tell what you're saying, Gretchen, in your comment. Gretchen says I agree, but it says something just comment for you.
Hi there, this is Gretchen.
Hey.
Hi. I say I totally agree. The mind mapping really helps give clarity, and I see where I can go so much further with that. Thank you very much for that process, and I will play with that further.
Hey, it's my pleasure. Looking forward to taking. I hope we can take you to the next level. That will be a lot of fun, and I love what you're going to do. So it's going to be awesome. And Mike, you know what?
And I do have a comment for you when we get to the end.
Okay, cool, no problem. I'm just kind of closing up shop right now, so I'll just take a couple of other takeaways, and then we can go ahead and we can do that. Let's see. So Mike, feel free and get on a strategy session with me if you like. Just make an appointment, and if like I said, if money's tight or whatever, we'll figure something out. Okay. Randy's my suggestion for music images and the map and stuff for my business. Both are great. Thank you. Sam says, oh, you're terrific. Thank you. You're just a natural presenting and you're real. You're also very considerate with those with financial challenges. Yeah. I by the way, understand something and I'd like to teach transparently. Okay. I like to just be clear as to what we do and how we do it. There's a point where people need to stretch and find the money to do things that are important to them. If you're to level 10, you'll find the money. It's like if your child is sick, you're getting to the doctor. Even if you're broke, you're finding the way to do it. So there's a point of making sure people are serious and will do what they need to do, and there's a point of helping. You know what I mean? So you've got to make sure you don't overhelp in your business. And it's really important, even in our training for people, you got to give them the ability to actually stretch their muscles and go through a little bit of discomfort and pain to get where they need to go, because it's part of the growth process. So, in so doing, you want to be careful about that. And again, that's all what we teach. So, anything else from you guys? Like I said, if you're not sure, jump in a strategy session with me. They are complimentary. You don't need to pay me anything for them. We'll find ways that will work for you. And if it's a good match, then you'll come join us. Mike says mind mapping makes it so much clearer, and the idea of pacing myself in a place 3 to 4 years from now and telling the story of how I got there. So I'll start writing down and put it into action. Awesome. Here's the thing. It's easier to think about things from a future standpoint, because you're not wrapped up in the, oh shit, what about today? It's really planning your future. And that's so important. And as I think about that, I'm thinking that I need to create a product that really does that, that really helps people more specifically than that. So whether it's going to be, what that'll be, I don't know, but I might create something like that. For the moment, we do it within Trailblazers, and we do it live. So, and it works. It just flat out works. So get on a strategy session with me. For those of you that are able to join us today, our next meeting, we do it Monday nights at 5 p.m. U.S. Eastern time. It's whatever time in Switzerland. We have 2 members in Switzerland. We have a number of members in Australia. We really are worldwide. So there we go. Doriana, I love you. She says it's to have internal permission to leave a bad movie. Exactly. Give yourself the permission to leave the bad space and to go to where you really want to be. Listen, in my business, we began my Boost Your Practice brand. We created a whole big summit, an online summit for chiropractors, and it was great. It would have been a multi-million-dollar business, but at the end of the day, it wasn't the right place for me to be at that time. And so we went deeply into the software business to build our iBoost device site wrap product, which is just amazing, and it's mine. I mean, it's absolutely mine. We created it. It's so exciting. And then from that grew the Institute, because we had to train people to use it properly. And that's where my passion is. Trailblazing attracts me. You need to find a way to manifest it. Cool. Let's sit and we'll talk about it. I created Trailblazer, and I created the name. Some people call their coaching programs the Gold Program or the Platinum Program. I'm like, that's all crazy. We're blazing new trails. We're blazing trails in our business, and that's what I want to help you do. This is not for everybody. And I didn't design today to be a pitch fest. I designed today to help you, because I want you to experience what it is we do. So, Gretchen, you had a comment.
Hi there. I just wanted to say, you mentioned something about your intentions with Totalpreneur right after you and I were working together on this call, and I just want to say I really felt that from. I felt the intentions that you described from the material I received from you. I get so many emails. I don't read everything, but what I did look at of your material, I really felt like they're about really getting, having valuable content and getting, for somebody who's a entrepreneur, but doing the whole package. And I just, what you described, I really felt from you in the material that I had been in contact with. So I wanted to just say, right on, good job.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate that. Let me throw something else out, which I really need to put actually on this page as a member benefit, but it didn't even occur to me. And you Trailblazers, you know this already. So many of our members of our Trailblazers really are like-minded people, obviously. It's not just about the money. It really is that we have a passion, we have a purpose, and it's help other people, help the planet, help other people. There's a bigger picture. I mean, Doriana is committed to helping people age gracefully, or we use the term anti-aging. I want to see if we can talk about eliminating that word anti, Doriana, so that it's more of a positive rather than against. So we'll talk about that one in the future. But nonetheless, every one of our members, without exception so far, is a person that's qualified to be on our faculty. If you think about it, we have people that euthogenics. I love that. It's tremendous. So the cool thing is that as you build your business, you have the ability, as long as it fits our curriculum, to be one of our faculty. I want to promote you. I want to promote every one of our members, because hell, that's what we're here for, to help each other. So, as I hear you talking about what you want to create, and I'm talking to you, Gretchen, now, but really this is to all of you from what you put in the chat. Every one of you has the ability to provide products and services to my audience, and it becomes our audience. And what Totalpreneur is about is really building that community. So there's a lot more that we're building, and I want to be able to develop the faculty internally more than just bringing in outside folks. Although outside folks are important for sure, empowering you and giving you guys the ability with putting you in a magazine and having you on faculty and training and teaching courses and developing courses together. All that's really cool. So look at those look at those opportunities. At the same time, I'm going to share with you something, and then we're going to call it. So I'm running over time with you all, and I apologize for that. The opportunity to seize new ideas, the opportunity for you to do new things, is cool, but you got to stay focused. So, for example, we now own the website, the URL, 12minuteyoga.com, and I was talking to my yoga instructor yesterday, and he wants to create his own yoga studios. Well, that's great, except for the fact that he's back in the same mode of, trading time for money. But if we created a speed yoga sort of thing, and unfortunately speedyoga.com is already taken, but if we created a speed yoga thing for people around the world that can have a 12-minute yoga practice and do it, for example, in an app on your iPhone or iPad or whatever, or Android device, whatever, as well as online. Well, then you got something that's got legs. That's a bit different. So for those that are fast paced, let's give you a few moments of peace and so on. So that could be a great product. Is that going to be my product? Well, the Institute will support it for sure, but that's not my core business. So it's got to fit within your mind map. It's got to fit within what you're doing. So anyway, looking forward to working with you guys. Any final question for anybody? Okay, well, cool. So yeah, Randy says, I'm willing to begin teaching again. So if you need me to do anything, just say so and I'll be there. Awesome. So thank you guys. I appreciate you. I will have a replay of this available, and for you, Gretchen, and for you, Lenita, I'll get you the mind maps and the diagrams as well, so you can rock on with them. It is my pleasure to serve you guys. Thank you again. I look forward to welcoming you, meeting you on a strategy session or in Trailblazers. Talk to you soon. Bye, everybody.
Bye, Ken. Bye, everybody.
Bye, y'all.